Hello, Gomez here for the Lan Up channel, and today we're going to be going through an Endure deck. Now I know that some people like Endure, some people don't like Endure, but this is an Endure deck that was actually posted on the subreddit by Mr. Bear. I will actually link that down below in the description just so you can get a look at his thing, but he actually managed to get to Masters with it. It's got Sejuani in it. It's quite an interesting deck because it's the Endure deck with a Sejuani. Let's go into the breakdown and so let's get into this whole deck. So let's do this. So the Endure deck, let's get into it and let's get through all the different components of it. So, like any Endure, or like most Endure decks, should I say, it is Shadow Isles with Freljord. Obviously it's got to be Freljord because that's where it is, but Shadow Isles just because loads of things are going to be dying, and so that's going to be feeding the Endures, and that's why it works so well in this widget, this place. Now, obviously you've got a lot of things which are going to be killing minions, or a lot of things which, like, you know, get more attack or whatnot from minions dying. Elise, surprisingly enough, like some people don't understand this, but with Elise, you don't actually want her to be leveling up, because the whole purpose is you want her on the board early game so that she's creating spiders which are most likely going to be getting or dying in trades, or you're putting those spiders then forward into trades. When she levels up, she stops producing spiders, and that's sometimes the problem that some people who are new to playing this deck don't understand, is that you actually want to keep Elise in her not leveled up form, because the second that she levels up, she stops creating spiders. And the whole reason is, I said, you want them to be creating spiders to have more things to die so that it levels up that Endure. So she's really good early game, and that's why there's only 2 copies of her, and that's why there's a copy of Sejuani in this deck, because Sejuani actually works really well late game, whereas Elise would work real good with your early game. Sejuani's working good late game because of the fact that you could either draw something out with making it vulnerable and then attacking it. It's got Overwhelm, and also which can work with Fury of the North, and also if you get a Neverglade on the board with Sejuani, the amount of damage that you've probably been doing by killing things every single turn, Sejuani's going to have leveled up, and then she's going to be frostbiting them every single time you kill something, and then the Neverglade. So it just works really well. Kalista, obviously you want to be making sure that you're keeping her alive as much as possible, just because once she levels up, really powerful, because every single time she's making an ephemeral which is then either doing damage or taking the hit for her, and then that's dying. If you've got a Neverglade on the board, that's getting some damage off of that by drain, or it's just feeding. Yet again, everything is just feeding for the Endure, and at the end throwing Endure out, doing that overwhelm damage. Obviously it doesn't really work against an Ashes, or at least it's less effective against an Ashes Sejuani deck just because of the frostbites, but they have to basically be continuously on those frostbites, and if they're not, or if they run out, you've still got the atrocity, and potentially, I said, like, if you've got multiple of these playing at a time, so it can actually beat the Ashes Sejuani combo, but it's a harder game. I will admit it's a harder game. The good thing about this deck, as I said again, you want to be keeping. So let's just quickly go through what you want to be doing in Mulligan. So in Mulligan, you kind of want to be keeping a Butcher if there's something he can trade into early game. So if you've got something along the lines of an Omen Hawk, you maybe want to keep him, because then throw an Omen Hawk, getting the buff, throwing Butcher out on top of that, so that's 3 damage. So first, like, instant attack if you're on the attack, 3 damage going in, unless they've got something which is going to deal with it. So yeah, again, it's very situational whether or not you play him or not. You definitely want to be keeping a Butcher if you've got a Keeper, because then basically butchering the Keeper, you end up with having 7 damage on board with the 4 with the Abomination and the 3 with the Butcher, which is really good early game if you can push forward with that. Other than that, if you've got, if your opening hand or Mulligan doesn't have any low things for Butcher, but it's got a Butcher, get rid of him, because you can't play him without something to play him into, and you don't really want to be playing him into a Bark Beast, because you want something to die to help get that Bark Beast up. So you really want to be getting rid of that. I've just realised as well that there's only 1 copy, because so basically the main concept and deck was originally posted by Mr. Bear. Link down below to that subreddit where he posted saying that he got to Masters with this, and it's actually been helping me climb quite a lot, so it's a really good deck. Probably I should get rid of this. I believe there was 2 copies in the original deck potentially. It just works really well with leveling up Kalista, or if you've got a Neverglade on the board, it's really good. So potentially getting rid of that and making it so you've got 3 Neverglades is probably going to be the better idea. I'm still going to keep it because it works really well. I found that although there's only 1 copy and it's less likely you're going to draw it, but late game, if you've got some Neverglades on the board, it just works really well. But also if you can get early game with a Kalista, it works really well to level her up. So I'm actually going to keep that because it's been working for me. Now I do realise that a lot of people hate it whenever you have 1 copies in decks and they say, no, this deck is invalid, this can't be a deck because it's only got 1 copy in, but it's only 1 card when there's 1 copy. Actually there's 2 cards because it says Wani, but said the reason for that is because of how many champions you can have in a deck, and while Elise works early game, she doesn't work late game, and that's why there's the 1 copy of Sejuani, because like you really don't want to be drawing her until the end game anyway. A few other things to mention about this deck, I guess, is the fact that Sentry can work really well in terms of draw factor. So whether or not you want to butcher a Sentry, if it's really calling for it, if you've got Butcher in hand and nothing else that you can get rid of, potentially for the draw, because anything that you're killing, yet again, is going to be feeding this for the potential at the end. So getting the Atrocity with Endure is really good. So yeah, I think it's quite a solid deck. Obviously it can be tinkered around a little bit. Let me know if you use it or if you tinker it around a little bit. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. The good thing about Caretaker, yet again, is you're creating ephemerals on board, which is yet again feeding the Endure, but also allows you to be able to challenge me. And so if you've got a Twisted Fate or something which is only 2 health, potentially getting rid of them, or it could make them use their removal purely on an ephemeral, which you don't mind. And yet again, you don't mind things dying in this deck, because the idea is that you want to basically be trying to flood the board, attack forward with everything, make your opponent have to defend, most of the time killing things, which is just helping level up the Endure. So actually everything is perfectly fine. You want to try and keep a Neverglade on the board if you can, so Fury of the North potentially on that, or Fury of the North on Kalista to keep her alive. Fury of the North works also really well on the Endure for the Overwhelm, or Sejuani for the Overwhelm if possible. And also if your opponent doesn't have the mana anymore, throwing a Fury of the North and then Atrocity in is also a good way to close out the game. So there's actually a number of different ways of winning. It's a really solid deck. As I said, I hope you enjoy playing it. I'm going to show you a couple of matches with it so you can see how it goes. But before I do that, shameless plug time. All links I stream on Twitch Mondays and Wednesdays, The Legends of Runeterra, and we've currently got a thing going on at this moment in time where at the end of every stream I'm giving away a pass. That's going to be going up until the 19th, so if you want to get involved in that, there's still time. End of every stream, give it in that. So the giveaway tickets, all you got to do is watch the stream, redeem giveaway ticket at the end of the stream. I'm taking all those tickets and throwing them into a random draw. Whatever name comes up is going to win. Also, obviously, as you can see, I'm on YouTube, so if you want to hit that subscribe button and help support the channel, any little tiny thing like that helps. It's free for you and it helps support me, so please feel free to. If not, do not worry about it. It's perfectly fine. You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, if you enjoy this, then why not? Also, Twitter and Instagram as well. I'm active on all of these different things, posting memes or content, so please feel free to get involved in any of those. So let's actually see how this deck runs. So let's get into a few games. Oh, this is going to be aggressive. This is going to be aggressive. Expect rallies. To be fair, it's a really good combo as well. Kalista and Lucian work really well together. I'm just going to put that up. Yeah, no, this is gonna be a hard matchup. Need to try and kill those Sennas early before he throws out Lucian, or kill that Lucian early before the Sennas get involved. So this is gonna be. Part of me wants to get rid of the Caretaker, but I also feel like I need the Caretaker to, if he throws out a Lucian, potentially Vile, then throw that out. So I'm quite happy. That's gonna be a lovely thing to throw out, is Curse Keeper and then Butcher. So I'm gonna be happy with that move. I'm assuming he's about to do exactly the same move. He's going to Butcher on top of that. No, he's not. Not going to lie. Was massively expecting the Butcher move on top of that. Now the thing is, I could leave the turn so that next turn I'm Kalista in first. Yeah, I'm going to go with that move. Just to help level up Kalista. Because then next turn I can throw a Caretaker onto something. Yeah. So I'm going to throw those out. Technically, I could actually throw the Callista out in this attack as well. Now, the reason for that being is because even if it just trades with his one, I'm fine with that. Because getting in that additional damage if he doesn't is also good. But also getting rid of his one before he does anything to get rid of his... because next turn he could throw out a Caretaker. So... I'd rather not have ours level up and not have his level up. He's not going to go for the defense, so he's got a Caretaker in hand. That's what that tells me. The fact that he was not willing to make the trade, he's got Caretaker in hand. See, also, Relic would work really well to level her up, but it's too late for that now. That's now time for... there it is. There you are. Alright. Now we've still got Vile Feast if we need to, so obviously I'm guessing he's going to try and target a Collector. Sorry, he's going to try and target Callista. Sorry, my words are going all over the place. But you know, this should be fine. Because the thing is that he's got a target. Really? Out of everything, that is the least one I thought he was going to target. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say, he has to get the ones out of the way so I can't defend the Callista. That makes sense. So I could either throw a Vile Feast in here, or I could throw a Vile Feast in there. Works either way. Either way, there's nothing I can really do to stop this level up at this moment in time. I'm going to see what he does, because he might have a Vile Feast himself. Technically, what I probably should have done is I should have Vile Feast this in case, because now he could let this trade happen and then do that. So technically, I should have Vile Feast this, because now I've given him the opportunity to get rid of it. So that was actually my bad. I should have realised that he still had the mana for it, because now I'm expecting Vile Feast on top of Callista. She's leveled up, so at least the other versions of her in the deck will be fine, but that was actually a mistake, a misplay on my part. I should have... Oh, no. Her level up. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm talking bollocks. Classic me. But that's fine. Could have gone... Ooh. Do not get... I mean, it'd be just... I was going to say, it'd be just by luck he gets the lifesteal one. Lucky enough he did not get the lifesteal one. Okay, right. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. Might end up being a problem because of the Callista, but I'm going to go with it. Because now that means that's what's going to come back for him. But it's fine. I can live with that decision. Potentially. Well, I'm going to have to. I do have the Endure in hand. Well, we're just going to throw forward everything right now into attack. Yeah. His health is at a point where he has to do things. So I'm fine with this. Because I'd rather get rid of that big ass minion. He's probably got another Remembrance in hand right now, so he's going to throw that down and then get the lifesteal minion. But if not, everything is all good. Oh, he just had it in hand itself. Don't worry then. The one good thing is that we do have Atrocity, so we could actually potentially... Ooh, it's also... It really helps. I wish I had one more bit of mana, because if I had one more bit of mana, I could throw that into that and then Atrocity.
Show them what we're made of.
He's literally got no mana left. There's no defense that he's got, so we can actually now just throw this into here. There's nothing you can do about that. Could have done with the Callista as well, but I thought there's always a part of me that's like, what if he does have some... He hasn't got any mana, but what if he does have something? Oh, up against the big man. Up against the big man now. Okay. So I said, we're statistically less likely to win this game because of the frostbites. But I'm going to give it a damn good go anyway. Not exactly the worst starter, because we Omen Hawk and then potentially Caretaker the Omen Hawk to get up the Bark Beast, and also if we can throw Callista out. Like, I mean, there's ways around this. If he hasn't got early game, then we've actually got a really good early game. Don't get me wrong, Reckoning is... Don't... Damn you, sad Poro! What gives you the right? Reckoning is obviously a thing that could cause a significant pain and anguish.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
Don't actually mind this because now I'm gonna throw out the sentry because he would have targeted the bark beast. So we throw out the sentry now. I don't mind that sentry dying because it gives me draw. Ooh, smart moves I can see. Right, that makes it. Ooh, would be really good to have if I actually had the mana to be able to use it with Kalista, but potentially what we should have done is maybe just like held back that turn. Okay, what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to throw this out. Rather than throw the Kalista out, I'm going to go wide on board, throw a Bark Beast out as well. Could actually also just not do any. I could actually not do anything, so next turn could throw out Relic with Kalista. Might even be a smart move. He definitely throws this in front of this, but at least I don't mind dying, in all honesty. I'd rather have the extra spider. I'd rather have the extra corpse on the pile. So I'm not actually going to do anything just because, although we could have played Bark Beast so we would have had an extra thing, he would have just targeted it with the Glory Seeker. So by doing this, we wait for his attack turn and then we throw Kalista out with Relic. That should be our best move here. Yeah, so we leave it. I assume he attacks forward now that he's got. There we go. Yeah.
Face me.
Then we throw that in front of her just because we can stop that damage from going in. Do a little tiny bit of damage dash potentially as well. Caretaker could take that, so I'm happy with that. The only problem is, the only main problem that you always have with this deck is the fact that there's the Frostbite into Culling Strike is always a risk in this. So we're going to go for the level up of Kalista and hope that we're not going to see Frostbite into thing. But we will have at least leveled up Kalista. Frostbite into Culling Strike, that's the words. I will eventually say the words properly. Yes, I'd rather get this move done now so we know that she's leveled up. We've got another one in hand, and potentially I might have to use that to maybe deal with Ashe or deal with the Glory Seeker, depending on what the situation is. I might even have to Bark Beast into Caretaker to potentially deal with these problems. So we'll see how it goes. I could just go for an instant attack forward. Because I could go for an instant attack forward, so the only thing he could defend with would be the Ashe. But then he most likely does have Frostbite. I'm gonna regret my moves, but I'm doing it because even with the early attack, I could potentially then throw out a spear onto Ashe. So the idea is to potentially have multiple ways of killing her. Whereas if I leave it a turn, he could throw out the Archer Frostbite move. So I feel happier doing an open attack.
These are our lands.
Because if he does kill this early with something he's got in hand, or is he just going to let the damage go through? He could just let the damage go through. That's up to him. There we go, he's letting the damage go through. Really good card as well, just because we got the draw off of it, but now we do have our spear leveled like in a position where it can take that situation out. Actually gonna throw out a Bark Beast first. I could technically throw out both Bark Beasts.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
See, the thing of it is that we could obviously, but if we got rid of one Glory Seeker, the other Glory Seeker would take out Kalista. I mean, Kalista was already dead, so we might as well make sure we can take out that Ashe. He's still got significant draw if he throws out the minion, which obviously draws off a 5 attack. But at least if she dies, then potentially these guys level up, so I'm fine with that. Plus, our Endure is getting to that point. Obviously, there's a lot of Frostbite in hand, so there's most likely a Frostbite into a Culling. But I'd rather take that risk. Could also throw the Caretaker out onto something here, just so that I have got more on board. In fact, I'm actually going to do that move. It might end up being a terrible move, but I'd rather this. It's also feeding the Endure a little bit more of these deaths. So I'm actually fine with this move. It's going to force him to throw out a lot more things as well. Potentially throwing a glimpse on top of something. So I mean, I'm expecting him to get rid of... There we go. There we go. I actually do want both of these to die, so I'm actually going to let this happen, because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glimpse one of my saplings. I'd rather make sure the Glory Seekers are dealt with, well, those two Glory Seekers are dealt with, because then he doesn't have draw from 5 attack minions on board, so I'm okay with this. Potential, if he Culling Strikes this would be amazing. At least that would mean that there was that Culling Strike, like, it's less chance of him being able to get out a good move with that. And also, we can now actually butcher this to still have the Butcher attack on board as well. I like this. I like this. I mean, we're at the point now where he doesn't have a lot of cards in hand. Although that deck has a magnificent draw, it needs 5 attack minions on board in order for it to be the magnificent draw. I could throw down the Endure and he throws down a Sejuani or another Frostbite ability on top of it. But then, if it can survive, because it depends on whether or not he's got a Culling Strike. But if he doesn't, we actually can still do quite well. So it's the only real move that we have, so it's the only move we can throw forward as a hope. So throwing the Endure forward and hoping that there's no Frostbite into Culling. As I said, if he says if there's no Culling, it's fine, because if he just Frostbites it, at least then, like, we've got turns afterwards where there's potential for atrocity, so I'm fine with that. He's taking his time. Significant time. But he's now in like the top decking stage. So admittedly, we're kind of there too, but there is draw in it. There's a little bit more draw in this deck. Like, that doesn't require there being five attack minions. Right, so there we go, there's another draw mechanic. Right, so let's throw this out. The best, the one thing that you could hope for is hoping that I'm going to keep these back in defense. I'm going to keep those back in defense. I feel that's needed. So he did not. So he's not got a Frostbite at this moment in time. He's not got the Frostbite at this moment in time, which is actually really good. So potentially throwing out the Atrocity, because he might. Whether or not he's top decked it, that's going to be the thing, right? He's got Ash. Now, did he top deck Ash or not? A big part of me's thinking we could go for this move, but I also know I want to give myself the best possible chance. Is that leveled up? So she's still not leveled up yet, which is really good. Right, so what we're gonna do? Throw that attack in front of there. Put that in front of there. No. Right. But this gives us our best possible chance, plus it gives us some draw. It's getting down the healths of all those minions, because basically what we'll do is we'll hope that going into an open attack will really help us.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
Potentially Reckoning. I was expecting a Reckoning move as well, because that could be a thing. He's not got that. So he is now top decking, but he could still get a Frostbite effect out of everything. We're going to throw everything forward right now.
No backing down.
Yeah, so I'm expecting potentially Frostbite. Expecting potentially a Frostbite move. Ooh. Okay, so he's leveled her up. But that's still not enough to defend. That's still not enough to defend the Overwhelm. So, I mean, he didn't actually have. I'm surprised, because technically we're not favoured against this matchup. That worked really well. once he we traded for his minions and there was less chance of the draw, that worked really well. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It was unexpected, and that's why I'm more happy. Okay, so Demacia, Rally, Endure. Which I'm playing in duel. What am I talking about? So many rallies. So if we can get, we need to get minions. So I basically need to get, because we need to get things on the board early. Like we need some, potentially actually going to keep Caretaker just for its ability to throw out some challenge means that I might be able to get rid of things. But we need to basically be trying to throw out as many things as possible for defense.
I'm actually here.
It's too bad we didn't have our own hold there. But yeah, no, this is going to be really hard, because if we don't draw enough defense, then yeah, we're done. So I'm actually going to throw out Elise, because yeah, he's not got. The annoyance is that obviously once he attacks forward, if he immediately attacks forward, I can't just Vile, because I was guessing that he was going to throw this in front of the Spiderling. Oh no, okay. Yeah, no, this is. It's the second, once they build a board, and the second that Bannerman, see look now, when, such a draw. The second that Bannerman starts coming out, this is when problems start occurring. I could actually Vile this, get another minion on board, and also stop the, because what he was going to do is put this with this and get rid of Elise, so it gives us the best possible chance. If I'd waited a turn to throw, if I'd thrown the sentry out and waited, he would have now then opened it, he would have just attacked and would have got rid of Elise, so I'd rather give myself the best possible chance. I'm actually going to throw that in front of there, because that needs to be dealt with. Gonna just let these. Actually, no. Gonna keep one spider alive. My reason for keeping one spider alive is so that I have Caretaker to try and deal with some problems. I'm not going to deal with them easily, but I'm going to try and deal with some problems, because I mean he can just Bannerman now. Bannerman actually makes my job a lot harder. Throw you out and then throw the Caretaker on top of the Spiderling. That's the plan here. And then try to hook. There's the Bannerman. Still can actually, so it's not actually the worst. We do actually still have really nice thing where we can still get rid of 2 of his minions. So it's not actually the worst thing that could have happened to me. It's could have been far worse. Right, so get rid of those 2. I'm actually going to throw this out as well, so that it's going to trade with something. I'm actually going to throw out you. I could throw Elise out, but I feel like I need to keep these 2 back as defense in case. Just in case he comes up with something.
I'm ready.
Defend our banner.
Okay, so on the plus side, he's only going to have the 1 minion, so therefore, you know, I'm okay with this. He's only going to have the 1 minion, so even if he's got another Bannerman, he's not buffing them a lot. This has actually worked really well in our favour for this matchup. Because if you let them get out of control, loads of minions, the Bannermans keep coming out, buffing. We're still not 100% clear, but we're in an okay spot. Slightly okay, because there is obviously still single combat. There's other things in this deck which are going to be really annoying to deal with. What we're going to do is we're going to throw the Omen Hawk out and keep the Fury of the North, because now he's used all his mana up, so he's going to try and get rid of Elise this way. We could actually get rid of Quinn, because we could throw something in front of this and then Fury of the North it to get rid of Quinn, which actually might even be better, because yet again Bannerman and things like that. Because basically, so what we could do with the Fury of the North Elise, that dies, and then he's still got those which it to attack. Like he won't do another. He wouldn't do another attack. Actually, this is now the puzzle of whether or not it's actually worthwhile. So that I don't mind Elise dying. I can live with Elise dying. I'll live with Elise dying and I'll kill his Quinn. I think that's more important, in all honesty. There's probably many people who are going to disagree with this move, but I'd rather get rid of that, because otherwise he wouldn't have attacked, and then next turn potentially another Bannerman. Whereas getting rid of her was more important to me. Right, throw that out. Potentially if he throws something out, Caretaker again. Okay. I'm actually I'm gonna go with the Caretaker move. Because now what I can do is I can get rid of one, can do some damage to the other one, and still get damage going into his core, so I'm happy with that. I know that I've got a Fury, so that potentially, if need be, I can Fury of the North to get something so that it can defend. Could also throw out the Endure, but I'm not going to just yet. I feel like we wait.
The wood can't fight back, but I can.
Yeah, I feel like we wait because now when he attacks, he takes you. I can use you that would get rid of this problem. I feel because that's a really annoying card, and so actually getting rid of that is important. We're limiting down his possibilities.
Follow my lead.
All right.
They're saplings.
I feel like this works, and then we Endure next turn. I could even go for draw on top of that, so I could actually do this. Because I'm not going to kill this, whereas this is going to die. And obviously, anything you can trade off of this Demacia thing for like stopping the buffs with what's his face? Stopping the buffs with Bannerman, like you go for, you massively go for. I could throw out the Callista, or I could potentially throw out the Omen Hawk. I'm actually going to throw out the Callista. Next turn, throw out the Endure. Potentially actually Omen Hawk first to see what he's going to do. Actually, no, what are we talking about? Let's go for it. He does not have many options, so let's just crush. I mean, yeah, no, there you go. He knows it. He knew it was done. So, yeah, I mean that could have gone like if we didn't get things to be able to defend ourselves up, that matchup can go really wrong. So it actually worked really nicely in our favor in the end. I'm not gonna lie, that can go really wrong. So I'm glad it didn't. So as you can see, it's quite versatile against many different things. It can find its way through most of the time because it's got early damage, and then it does still have late game potentially with Neverglade. Even though we didn't actually see any Neverglade action during all those matches, but you know, obviously we got a bit lucky with the Ash Sejuani one because Frostbite or Culling Strike on top of a Frostbite on top of the Endure would have like caused us magnificent problems, but lucky enough we managed to get them down card wise. They didn't have to draw a purpose, so it worked. But you know, that can go different ways. So let me know what you think down below. As I said, this deck was actually something which was inspired by a post on Reddit that was Mr. Bear. Yet again, I'll link you to that subreddit post down below. And let me know how this deck goes for you, how you do with climbing, how you do with whether or not you modify it in any way. Please let me know. Comments down below. If you like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see some more Legends of Runeterra content, because I'm trying to get out as much Legends of Runeterra content as I can, as well as creating memes and whatnot for Reddit as well. There's like so many different things I've currently got going on, as well as streaming Legends of Runeterra as well. So please feel free to join in any of those things. Hope you enjoy your time. Till next time. Bye! Very lucky. Let's hope that I can find... Oh! Oh! When you still find lethal from your opponent's deck. When they do everything they can, but you still use their own deck against them in such incredible force. See...